And back here, South Africa's new leadership announced on Wednesday it was taking a politically risky step of raising value-added tax for the first time in 25 years, part of efforts to cut the deficit and stabilize debt under new President Cyril Ramaphosa. The government of Africa's most industrialized country has to plug a revenue hole in its budget and repair its economy after 9 years of mismanagement under the scandal-plagued Jacob Zuma. The move to raise VAT to 15% from 14% starting in April is expected to generate an additional 23 billion rand of revenue in 2018 and 2019. But how have South Africans welcomed this move? Let's talk to the head School of Economics and Social Sciences at the Wits University, South Africa, Professor Jenny Rosso. Good afternoon, Professor. Thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your audience.
Right. Looking at the budget presented by the government and the plan to raise VAT, do you like what you see?
Well, in this budget, we see clearly that South Africa has fallen on hard times after 9 years, as you've called it, of mismanagement by the Zuma administration, and that South Africa has a problem in terms of runaway expenditure and squeezed government revenue. So we see higher taxes in this budget and an announcement of expenditure cuts by the government.
Now, the finance minister acknowledges it's going to be a tough one, but desperate measures call for desperate solution. However, he said poor households will be cushioned against the VAT rate rise through a zero rating of basic food items, like you have your maize meal and beans, and welfare payments increases. What's your take on that?
Well, I am worried about the impact of the VAT increase on poor households. I would have wanted that balanced with higher income tax on high earners on their personal income in South Africa. So that would have been a better package to sell to the South African electorate, whereas now it seems that that carries the burden, and the perception is that that rests very heavily on poor households.
Now, this is the first time in 25 years that the government is raising the VAT. As an economist, is this the best time, considering the national election coming up next year?
It's probably never a good time to raise any taxes. And under the current circumstances, the South African government simply had no option but to raise that, for the simple reason that the outgoing president, Mr. Zuma, announced free higher education to be phased in from this year. The government desperately had to find the money to make good what the outgoing president promised in December last year. So that was the only available tax source that could render sufficient income for this purpose. And to continue with the phasing in of the higher education, we might see another VAT increase in 3 or 4 years.
Okay, just before I let you go, Professor, the National Treasury expects those measures, together with an improved economic growth outlook, to narrow the budget deficit to about 3.6% of gross domestic product. That's in the coming fiscal year. And, of course, has also forecast a GDP growth of 1.5% this year, up from an estimated 1%. Do you think this will appease rating agencies that have steadily downgraded the nation and help ward off a cut to junk next month by Moody's?
The overall commitment of the government in this budget, but also beyond this budget, in the State of the Nation address, to getting corruption under control and to weed out unnecessary expenditure, plus the steps announced in this budget, in my view, will put the minds of international credit rating agencies at ease, and they will give South Africa some breathing space to work out its financial difficulties moving forward.
All right, thank you very much for your time, Professor.